Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sylvia Barrock and today we're going to be talking about short selling, how to profit in a bear market, what are the best instruments to use for this strategy, and how to short a stock. Before we continue guys, if you're new to my channel, feel free to check out my website. I'm going to post the link just in the description below. I have a free trading kit, free Telegram channel, so feel free to check this out. All you need to do is put your email and you're going to get the links for all the educational material. Now let's check out some of the charts, and I would like to explain first of all, before we start, that the stock market in general goes through cycles, and even though if you have the best outperforming stocks, they are not going up forever. So we always go through 4 different cycles. Accumulation cycle, which is kind of a sideways cycle where the stock is preparing for a new uptrend, something like this here. Then we're going through a distribution cycle where volatility kicks in, and then you start to see a little bit more selling pressure, failed breakouts, breaking of support zones, and so forth. And then at some point this turns into a downtrend, and after the downtrend we return back to the accumulation phase. So this is a so-called bell curve, and you can see that everywhere, on every single chart in life, on everything. So that being said, even though I personally like to long stocks a lot and I like to buy good fundamental looking stocks, sometimes we don't have the environment for that. So sometimes it is not the right environment overall to buy stocks. And this has been actually like that since the beginning of this year. Since the start of the year, volatility kicked in and we saw a lot of wild price action, a lot of selling on the stock market, and of course all had to do with the high inflation and with the increasing of interest rates. But that doesn't matter guys, because we need to be prepared in any case. How can we profit even in a bear market? How can you profit on the downside and not waiting for only to buy stocks? So of course in general the market goes up, and in general it will always come back, but there will be phases throughout the way where you will see, like now, more volatility, more selling, more downtrend. So if you don't want to wait through those phases, and if you want to make some profits and money through those phases, you need to know how to short sell, what instruments to use, what are the important spots and levels where you can place a position and trade, and where to close it. So first of all, I want to start with some basics, because I'm making this video for those of you who are beginners. What means short selling? Short selling means that you are betting that the price of the stock is going to go lower. So when the price of the stock goes lower and you have a short position, this means you're profiting. So how does that work in detail? First of all, when you're short selling, you don't have the shares, you don't own the shares. So you are borrowing the shares of the particular stock from your broker in order to sell them at a certain price. And then when you close your position or cover your position, you're buying those shares back. So that's how it works. You're borrowing the shares from your broker, and then when you close it, you're buying the shares back. And when this happens, normally, if you're short selling, and trying of course to catch a profit, it should happen on the way down. When you see that the stock price is declining, you can close the position. So that's how it works in general. That's in general the idea about that. And this is actually very good because it gives us the opportunity to profit on both sides. Like I said, in a nice bull market, we can profit easily on the way up and buy stocks, and in a bear market you can just start looking for some short selling opportunities. Now, what are the best short selling opportunities? We're going to discuss a couple of setups, and also most importantly, what instruments can you use in order to short sell. So you don't have to use only stocks. You can use, for example, ETFs. You can use, I'm going to show you some reversed ETFs, which you can long actually, and still at the same time profit when the whole market goes down. So I'm going to show you this as well. You can use futures if you have a futures account, so you don't have to borrow shares from your broker. So you can use a couple of different instruments here, and we're going to discuss some of those, and you will know what's better for your personal trading style. Now, let's check out first of all some of the setups. Let's take as an example AMD, because I actually shorted AMD back here and that was a decent profit. So normally this is a very strong company and I personally don't like to short it, but again, in the current market situation and market environment, you don't have a lot of long opportunities. Every single try of the market to bounce and continue higher is being a failure. The market is failing to bounce and continue higher. So you need to be prepared for that, and you need to know a couple of strategies in order to be able to profit on both sides. So for me, first of all, you have many different setups which you can use, but there are 3 different setups which I personally use. The first setup is if you have a straight up parabolic move where the stock goes straight up for many days, and at some point exhaustion kicks in, buyers are exhausted, and at some point you see a reversal candle and you see a pullback. So that's the first setup. The second setup is if you have some kind of a failed breakout where the stock ran for a while and is trying to break out again, but it's failing to break out, making a reversal candle and continuing lower and starting a fresh downtrend. And the third setup is when you have already an established downtrend and you have a bounce and you're looking to short on this bounce and you're looking for a continuation to the downside. All of those 3 can be profitable, but it all depends on the market environment. So in very straight bullish market cycle, I will personally not short and focus more on the long side. Now let's check out some of those setups. So this is a good example with AMD here. You see, if we look at this part of the chart, this was extremely overbought. So this stock ran a lot. It ran here from $99, $100 to $164. So this is a huge move only in a couple of months, and actually a couple of weeks. Not even more than 2 months here. And what you see here, this was this exhaustion move which I'm talking about, and at some point the stock slows down. You will not be able to see the same momentum, same buying like what you saw here, and that's totally normal. No stock or asset goes straight up without pulling back and changing the direction for some time. So if we look at this chart here, we see this breakout, but you see back here, you see those candles. You see actually it broke out, but then you have the first red candle, which is also at the same time a reversal candle. Then it's trying to break out one more time. It's breaking out, but you see another red candle. So all those things are signs that bears are stepping in and bulls are losing control. There is not enough momentum, like I mentioned. So let's zoom out a little bit. Then the stock pulled back here and you see more and more volatility kicks in. So you see those red candles start to get bigger, more aggressive. It pulls back, tries again to go higher, and you see every time the stock is trying to continue higher, you see red candle here. And all that are signs for you that bulls are losing control and bears are stepping in, sellers are stepping in. So that would have been a good example for a short here. After we broke the previous support zone and try to bounce again, this red candle is another possible entry here. So all I'm looking at when it comes to those setups is looking at some decent candlestick formations around certain support and resistance levels. So here, even though that looked like a long, if you start seeing more and more red candles here forming, then this should be for you a good signal to start either shorting, or if you're long, closing at least some of your positions. Because look, after that, what happened? This was the entry confirmation for the short setup right here, 131, and then all of a sudden it dropped straight down, went even below the 200 moving average and reversed. Now, you can use also those extremes on both sides. Only because you're shorted or you shorted the stock, it doesn't mean it's gonna go straight down to zero. It will stop, of course, and especially if it is oversold like that, you will also find some decent entries here on the long side. Now, the other entry which I personally traded is, as I saw that it went higher, and I was actually at the beginning here long because I was thinking this looks like it's gonna continue. But then I saw this reversal, closed break even, and as soon as it started to go below this candle's low here, I opened a short position and the stock went straight down into the 200 EMA. I closed for a profit that was 10% move to the downside, and it stopped here because this 200 EMA acts as support as well. So you always need to identify your support and resistance zones. So that's how you can find those zones based on the candlestick, based on support and resistance, and based on if you're having here a failed breakout. Again, here, very good example. You see failed breakout, trying to break out, next candle is red, failed breakout, dumped. So that's your setup here. Now, I know, guys, some of you don't have an account for a brokerage where you can short sell those stocks. So if that's the case, you can definitely use what I'm personally using sometimes. Let's say I want to short the Qs, which is the NASDAQ, but let's say I don't have the account for that. My brokerage account is not letting me to short it, and I know a lot of you guys are going through that and don't have the opportunity to short. This here is the Reversed Etf, and it is cheaper, first of all, than if you're trading the Qs. So the Qs ETF costs 348 if you're shorting. That's the reverse. So every time the Qs is going down, this one is going up. So it's doing the exact opposite. So if you're looking to short something and you don't have the account for that, you can always use those reversed ETFs. It's doing the exact same thing, because again, like I mentioned, guys, we're always going through cycles. Only because the Qs, the NASDAQ was super strong in the past 2 years doesn't mean it's going to continue like that. At some point it will stop, it will slow down. We have all those problems with inflation, interest rates, hikes, and so forth. So what you can do here is same thing. You see it's trying to continue lower because this is normally designed to go down. So let's go back and see. You see it went, that was of course 3 years ago, 7,828. So this is designed to go down, and at some point it stops, and you're looking the exact same way at some reversals here, looking at the candlesticks that it's failing to continue lower, and you can start longing either here or on a pullback here around this zone, or here, even here, which I did as well. So this is the second strategy what you can use if you don't have the account for short selling. Now I want to share with you one more last thing. I know some of you guys are trading futures. In this case, you can use the micro futures. Let's say you have small account and you want to trade those. MES is the micro future for that. Same thing here. You can go with the smallest amount, either use it as a hedge if you have a long portfolio, or like I mentioned, you can basically trade here based on the daily candlestick formations. So you see here, same thing, reversing one more time, trying to break out. This is the so-called failed breakout, which we discussed. Reversal candle, red candle, failed bounce, red candle, dumped, failed bounce, dumped, failed bounce again. Unfortunately today it looks like we're continuing lower. So you can use this as well. It's really up to you what's your goal as a trader. But those are the different techniques and the setups. So I hope you guys learned something from today's video, how to short, how to profit in a bear market, what to use. You can use, like I mentioned, the SQQ is only for the Qs, but you can use, for example, if you want to short the Russell, you can use TZA, which is the same idea, same stuff. You're just buying here, which means is the reversed ETF, so you're actually shorting the Russell 2000. So leave me a comment, guys, if you have any questions or if you're using those signals and setups and instruments in your trading. And I am here to help you with anything you would like to know. Feel free to email me or leave me a comment. I'm looking forward to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.